What's up, guys? This is Christian Duke, and you're watching Strength Addicts here on Instagram Live, brought to courtesy of BlackstoneLabs.com, the holy grail of hardcore bodybuilding supplements. Also, be sure to check out the Blackstone Labs Legion. I happen to run it, so I'm partial to it. I think it's awesome. And also, a big thank you to our supporting sponsor, TitanMedicalCenter.com, for some amazing therapies like Nectar of the Gods, Titan Complete, TRT, and of course, the new ECA Plus stack that's got the whole fitness industry talking. Also, be sure to check out Team Titan today. If you missed my interview with James Muldrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, be sure to check it out on replay, and please leave a comment. James is in the house. And right now, I'm super excited to have with me Yvette Montero. Now, Yvette Montero is honestly a Legion O.G., and that is a term that was coined by the one and only, the Lord, not Jesus, PJ Braun. So it is a huge honor to have Yvette on here. And so I'm going to bring her on, and we're going to talk about Legion and about her fitness and just what a great person she is. What's up, Greg? What's up, James? Hey, what's up?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Every single person that meets you loves you. Yes, your
Promise that's not
vibe.
true.
It is true. It is totally true. And when I told PJ and Jen that I was going to be interviewing you, they were like, PJ was like, she is a Legion OG. And Jen was like, couldn't say enough awesome things about it. Like, everybody just freaking loves you.
Oh, thanks. That's nice. 4 years, dude. 4 years. This December 16th, I looked it up today. 4 years.
Wow. That's crazy. Like, you've been in the Legion longer than the Legion's been around almost. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, you were like probably one of the first members, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, it was right before the Legion started is when I joined. I want to say the Legion rolled out in like January or February, and I started in December.
And you compete also, right?
And I compete and I coach.
And you coach, yeah. So how did that all get started? Like, which one came first, the coaching or the competing?
Oh, the competing. By far the competing. No, I mean, I turned probably 28, woke up and didn't like the body that I saw in the mirror anymore. So I started running half marathons, and then that sucked. And I got injured. And my doctor was like, "Oh, you have a muscle imbalance. You should lift weights." And that was it. And then I saw a girl at my gym. I lived in Livermore, California at the time. Saw a girl at my gym that was competing, and I was like, "Oh, there's sparkles and heels, and it's a beauty pageant but with muscles." Like, yes. And I trained for 2 years and then did my first show, and it kind of all fell into place from there.
That's so cool. Yeah, and I can tell that you really love it. I mean, I can't imagine why anybody would get into physique-based sports if they didn't truly love it. Like why, you know?
Yeah.
But you really love it. And how I can tell that you love it is because I don't do it right now, but I did years of contest coverage, and I used to never want to go home. Like, for me, the saddest part of covering a show was when the show was over.
It's okay.
And you're the same way. I mean, like, everybody that I have met that has met you says that you are always so upbeat and chipper, like, the whole time. And it's just so great to meet you, because people, like, sometimes people at a show, it might be their first show, they might be a little nervous, they may not know anyone, then they see you and it's just like, they know it's just perfect. I'm serious.
That's so cool. I haven't heard that feedback, and that's just really cool to hear because, yeah, I mean, we're all in this together, right? Like, we're all doing this aesthetic-based sport with no real end. You know, it's just perpetually better and incrementally better. I mean, if we're talking about adding muscle, it's minuscule day by day, but we're all there. We're all putting in work. We're all doing the same thing. We all have the same goals, betterment. So yeah, I mean, we're all on the same team.
For sure. No, and like with me, with my weight loss, like, I'm up to 99, almost 100 pounds. It's going to be, 250 is what PJ wants. I'm going to go way under that. But at some point, I'm not going to really see the movement on the scale. And like you said, it's going to be a very gradual thing where almost day to day, you can't tell. Thing is, though, from show to show, the judges can tell, your friends can tell, and the photographers, the photos don't lie,
Yeah.
but you have to, it's a, 12, 16 weeks culminating into like 10 minutes.
A
You know what I mean?
that just sits around. It's not about that. It's about the experience of it. The ability,
Exactly.
mental fortitude to keep going and to do hard shit. You don't have to get on stage to do hard shit either.
Definitely. And in terms of coaching, Abdullah's in the house, which is Brandon Curry's coach, and he's just so cool. And I love that he jumps on these from time to time. And kudos to your coach, because, like, I mean, not to your coach, excuse me, to your doctor. I've not heard a lot of doctors advocate for weight training. Most doctors are like, no, you don't want to do that. You're going to get hurt. It's nice to hear that a doctor actually helped you find this passion.
Yeah, totally. I mean, changed my whole life. I never would have gone down this path. And it's literally like, I absolutely love this, all of it. Coaching, training. I mean, the whole reason why I started competing is like, you're in there in the gym, you're putting in the work, like diet down once a year, twice a year, see what it looks like.
Definitely. Well, like Kim Fidas Haynes is in here, and she doesn't actively compete, but she competed for a long time, and she may do it again, and she just loves it. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like like James Mulder was saying on the previous interview, like once a Marine, always a Marine. I feel like once a competitor, always a competitor. You know, if you're not actively competing, you still have that mindset. You know, and she still has it to do her workouts and to eat her meals, and it's like it doesn't
The
go
body
away.
that competing comes with.
What?
That's the body dysmorphia that competing comes with. The reason that we all stay dedicated is like, I know what I look like at my aesthetic best, and I'm always chasing that.
Definitely. I've never competed because I've always been like a chubby, but like now, like I was saying in the last interview, it was like, you know, if I hit this 250, that's great. That's what PJ wants, but like I'm still gonna be fat at 250. Like I mean, so I want to go lower and then rebuild. But the thing is, I want to compete just once, just to know what it feels like. Because like for like the last 15 years, I've been interviewing competitors, writing about the sport. I've never actually done it. You know what I mean?
Experience it, yeah.
It doesn't matter where I place. Like I'm not an underachiever, and I'm not like you know, I'll give it my all, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if I win or not. You know.
I understand that. And I feel, I mean, as competitive as I am, I'm not competitive in terms of placement as much as I'm competitive with my own betterment.
Exactly. And that's the thing, because like, as long as you're the best you possible, then you've won. Because in this sport, like you never know what the judges are looking for. Like yeah, I mean, like Bob Ciccarello, like I love the term that he has about apples and oranges. Like you could be the absolute best apple. If you're looking for an orange that day, you're just not going to win, but you can't take that personally, you know?
Exactly. And you can't let it stop you either. It's that feedback that has to fuel you for more. What do I need to do better so that next time I don't get that feedback again?
Exactly. And I hate to ask you like this, like very like expected question, you know, like which one do you like more? But I'm just going to ask you, which one do you like more, coaching or competing?
Oh, probably coaching. Oh gosh, if I had to pick one, man, I don't know. They're both fun, but coaching I do more often.
It's such a lame question, like, because obviously you love both, but I can't help but ask. Now, let me ask you and pick your brain a little bit more. Uh, uh, who do you prefer to coach and why, men or women?
Women specifically. Most of my clients are competitors. I have a few transformation, but women in terms of posing, like I understand what I'm looking at. Men, not so much. Plus, I do macros. It's rare to find men that are game to track macros. There's more of them coming along, and I'm so happy to see it, but it's still fairly few and far between.
I mean, I know this is a highly sexist thing to say, but you know, Dave Palumbo, and I hate the name drop, but like Dave Palumbo often said this, and I have not met a coach yet that has contradicted this, is that women are just so much more hardcore than guys, especially when it comes to their diet, their supplements, and their training. They don't miss a beat. You know,
Well,
guys.
which you guys never want to admit.
What is it?
We have a higher pain tolerance, but you guys never want to admit that.
Oh, you deliver children. I mean, that's like, I mean, like the fact women can do that. A guy could never do that. A guy would drop dead just at the idea of doing that.
Same.
There's no way. There's just that is the deal breaker for guys. Like they just could not do it. But even aside from that, though, like I think pain threshold for women is a lot higher, and I think like also, you know, to the degree that a woman will suffer. I think that you know, and it goes to the extremes, because like right now, like in our industry, especially in the sport of bodybuilding, like you have people like Jake Wood, the owner of the Olympia. You've got prominent judges that are kind of like, you know, they're trying to figure out ways to kind of like tell the women, you know, just like kind of rein it in a little bit, and they don't know how to do that because women are just so competitive and so driven, and that could actually lead to their demise sometimes, you know. But that's just how serious it is. It's like sometimes it's a life or death thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're rewarding, so that's what they get too.
Right. But also like with women too, like, and I know you know this, and a lot of people know this that are watching this, but like you really can't get too low in body fat and too low in dehydration because of the hormone levels. And once those are out of whack, and then of course you have metabolic damage. What do you think about metabolic damage? Because some people think metabolic damage is a myth, and then other people think it's a very real thing. As a coach, competitor, what do you think about that particular topic?
I don't think that it's necessarily metabolic damage as much as it's downregulation. You know what I mean? You need to fuel your fire. And I think that society has told us women generally, 1,200 calories, 5-pound weights, all the miles under your feet. And that's what's going to take to build your dream physique. And it doesn't. Because that dream physique that we keep seeing, that we want, we cherish, has muscle under it. And you can't do that if you're under eating.
That's true. And that's another topic too, that a lot of coaches, like, their go-to approach for women is to starve you guys, and so it doesn't matter if we're talking bikini, figure, women's physique, wellness, bodybuilding, it doesn't matter. They will just starve you guys. And it's just like, that's not good coaching, I don't think.
There's different methods for everybody, but that's definitely not one that I prescribe myself, just because the whole point of this, the whole goal in our off seasons is to build muscle. Why would I go out of my way to have you diet down so much that we're going to sacrifice it? I want to salvage as much as I can. And that's going to come with feeding you an adequate protein and adequate protein feedings and EAAs and a million other things. But it's more than just starving someone. Because, yeah, I mean, you can get anybody to lose weight. Don't feed them. But at what price?
Definitely. Now, what do you think? I feel like I'm asking you more questions on the coaching side, but I'm just curious. With regards to the bulks, whether dirty bulks or clean bulks, is there a place for them with competitors outside of bodybuilding and women's physique? I mean, is there an advantage to maybe even figure, but is there an advantage, say, for a bikini competitor to do any kind of a bulk?
I mean, I hate the term bulk, because the goal is not to get bulky in any season, right? That's never my goal. What I want to do is add minimal body fat and maximum muscle. That's the whole goal. And getting our macros up high enough so that when we do start a prep, we have somewhere to pull from. Because if you come to me and you're eating 1,500 and I need to pull you down even further, I don't have much space there. So now I'm starving you. So it's using off seasons, but adding minimal body fat. This year's been rough, I think, for most people. So it's just a matter of getting back to homeostasis and then getting back down.
Definitely. No, you're so right. And again, that's an amazing, it's an amazing point, but it's amazing how you articulated the point, is that, once you're at a low, at a caloric deficit, basically, they're not leaving the coach much to work with. You can't go lower than low, for example, because then the body will go into survival mode. And then you may actually find that your client's going to gain weight, even though they're taking in less calories and outputting more energy.
Yep. And you end up those too, because now your body is just not going to respond, because anything that you're going to feed it, it's going to hold on to, because now it's like, well, I'm not getting fed. Let me hold on to this.
Definitely. Now with you as a competitor, kind of like going back and forth, but as a competitor, like what's the harder part for you in terms of preparing for the stage? Are you is it hard for you to eat? Or do you have a good appetite? Is it the training, or is it the supplements? What is it for you?
So my on season and my off season really isn't any different. I eat the things that I enjoy. I come up with my own meal plans basically, because it is macros, but it's the volume of food that'll change, right? The amount of food that we're eating. That doesn't really change. It's the cardio. It's the added cardio. So as preps get deeper and longer, and as we progress, it's just the extra time.
Definitely. Yeah, because I feel like that is a big deal for a lot of women, is figuring out the place of cardio, because cardio, a lot of people dread it, but it's almost like highly addictive, but you have to know when to stop, because you can also, like anything, if you take it to extremes, it can actually start to hinder your performance on stage and gaining and retaining muscle. Anything that is not regulated could be a problem.
And that's where you have to gauge your on season versus your off season, because it is more of a tool. You want to utilize some cardio, of course, to maintain adequate heart health, but also it's a tool that you need to be able to utilize in prep. So same thing, if your calories are super low, I can't start you in a prep. Well, the same thing goes if your cardio is super high. If you're doing an hour and a half a day and that's your baseline, what am I going to have you doing by the time that we're 12 weeks in, 6 weeks in? How do I
No, that's another really good point. And like the thing too is like I've even seen preps of bikini and figure competitors that do not involve cardio. Like again, that's the thing too. I think with dealing with a good coach such as yourself is that everyone is different. And so like I have seen, and I know you have, and a lot of people in the industry have, I have seen like the more or less the same plan given to a bikini competitor and to a men's bodybuilder. And it's because the coach is either stealing the plans, or they don't know how to coach, or
Right.
or they do know how to coach, but it's just a money grab and they don't care,
And it's figuring out the ideal physique that you're building too. And that's why I like to have a coach, because it's really hard to be objective about your own body, right? There's things that I don't like, but that I get good feedback from on stage, or things regarding shape, and having that objective third eye, somebody else to say, we need to focus a little bit more on shoulders for a few weeks, or we need a little bit more glutes here. That helps tremendously.
Definitely. And what I like too also is like, especially like in the off season, how you talked about, minimal fat gain and maximum muscle gain is like, you can also like treat yourself without going to the extremes. Like Jen Strobo, I love what Jen Strobo does with portion control. Like the general theme is portion control. Instead of 24 almonds, have 16. You're still getting your almond fix, taken care of, but you're not getting the extra 8 almonds worth of fat and calories. And if people have the discipline to do that, then they don't necessarily ever have to stop eating the foods that they love.
That's called tracking macros. It's really that simple. It really is. Track your macros. You can literally eat whatever you want within moderation and within rules, guidelines, and boundaries. There's nothing off limits. And that's the beauty of it, is you can still go out and have a cheeseburger. It might mean that you have egg whites and spinach for dinner, but you can still have those things.
And I like that more. And again, I have a lot of friends that do flexible diet, like Adam Atkinson from See You Later Leaner. And I love you, Adam, but that's different. Yeah, that's different than if it fits your macros, because if it fits your macros, well, but I mean, it's different in the sense that you're not replacing like good proteins, like with Pop-Tarts, essentially. Like not that he would do that, but I'm just saying, like with portion control, though, you're still getting in good calories. You're just, like you said, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you can still have like sort of bad food, but you may have to compromise for having like egg whites or greens or something like that, right?
Well, if you're talking about using most of your carbs and fats for this not so healthy meal, you're going to have to get your fiber and your protein from somewhere. And that's where you're stealing from Peter to pay Paul. At the end of the day, you're still hitting those same numbers. The thing is, there's sometimes where maybe you'll just hit calories. And that's another form of dieting and macro tracking. Maybe you just hit calories one day. Maybe you macro board. So instead of doing 5 meals, you do 4, you do 3 larger ones, or 1 large one, and then you make up the protein in another one. So it's just manipulating those things. And that's not a daily occurrence, right? You're not having a cheeseburger every day. It's still that treat thing, that special thing, but still within rules, guidelines, and boundaries.
And Adam doesn't advocate Pop-Tarts every year or anything like that, but you're right. I stand corrected. I wasn't thinking of it like you're right though. What you're saying is flexible dieting, essentially, and macro tracking, and it's all basically one and the same. But you're right. And the thing is I think that the allure of eating the bad food and replacing like other foods that are lower in calories to make your macros the right number, the allure is going to go away once you can have it. Then it's no longer like so taboo and so like risque.
So now nothing's off limits. So there's nothing nagging at you saying you can't have this cookie. Don't you want it so bad? There's nothing there, because if you want it, you can. Have a piece of chicken. Done.
Yeah, you're so right, because the thing is like with like keto, for example, and I know I like keto, and like Atkins, and there's a bunch of products that are really good, but you know what, they're not really as good as like the sugar like stuff, so yeah, if you want a brownie, like maybe like an Atkins brownie ain't gonna do it. You maybe want a Little Debbie brownie, go eat your 450 calorie brownie. But then once the craving is gone, and I think that's probably the hardest part of prep. And that's why I think also like the people that do flexible dieting are so much happier backstage, because they're not really like restricting as much. But
well, you're just not eating the exact same thing, and it's not food that somebody else dictates to you. I have a tendency to eat the same thing for 4 or 5 meals most days, and I like it. It's the 5 meals that I chose, and there's power in the autonomy and the power of choice. Those are your decisions, your choices. You put that together. No one's dictating that to you. That's power, and that's power that you take with you elsewhere too.
And I love that. And I love that. And then the quote unquote cheat, you may not even want, because I know people that once they're set, like once they're doing their routine and they're eating, even if it's, especially if it is eating the same thing and training, like the days they want to train at the gyms they want to be at, breaking that has absolutely zero allure. Like the idea of breaking that is almost like, you know, something to be avoided, not something to look forward to. So
right. I think at the end of most preps, like post show, I'm just excited to eat food that I didn't make. You know, you get so.
But that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because you can't, like, you know, unless it's a restaurant that you happen to know the chef and you know everything about it, you really can't eat out, because like they could tell you that it's clean and lie to you.
I mean, up until probably the last month, I will.
You will, really?
Yeah.
You look fantastic on stage, though. You look so good.
Bodybuilding is something that's supposed to enhance your life, whether or not you're getting on stage. It's not something that's supposed to hold you back from life. And that means that you still need to have those experiences. Go to birthday parties, go out to bars, go do things. Figure out how to make that work within your prep and within your life. There's no excuse not to.
And that's, you don't hear a lot of coaches talk like that, because a lot of coaches will tell people, like, it's almost like, you know, you know, it's almost like you have to become like a monk or something, you know, and like abstain from everything and be like a social outcast.
How fun is that? Are you going to want to do another show if like you spent 3 months being a hermit and eating an asparagus? No. Be a person. This is supposed to be fun. Why am I happy? Because it's fun.
Yeah, a lot of coaches want their clients to be like basically like the Unabomber, but like lifting, you know, kind of thing, like live in a shack, no TV, no nothing that could tempt you, definitely no parties or anything like that. Yeah, and it's like, you're right, that's not going to want, you know, maybe a couple of people that like to take cold showers, that's going to appeal to them, but the vast majority be like, I don't want to do this ever again. So yeah.
And back, you know, I want you on stage again repeatedly. This contest season, I mean, this contest potential literally goes forever. I mean, there's masters, what, like 60 plus?
There's a lady, that she's in the Legion, and I'm not going to say her name, but she's 68. She looks amazing. She looks like, you know, I just showed a bunch of people at work today, and I like, one person sort of was in the age range, but I don't know if he was like being serious, but most people were like guessing like 20 years her junior, and some even 30, and she looks fantastic. And I met a lady here in Louisville about 4 years ago that trained with Brian Hoydick, who used to sponsor all tons of my coverage. I'm sorry, people call me while I'm doing this. It's horrible. But like, she was 67, and I had to see her driver. I didn't believe her. And her driver's license said 67, and she looked like she was 35 or something. She just looked amazing.
I'm telling you, man, I think muscle's the fountain of youth. I really do.
Yeah, no, and for women especially, it's the fountain of youth. I mean, guys, like, and maybe it's because of how guys train and, you know, ego lifting, whatnot, but like, you know, women, like and it's not Botox, it's not makeup, it's not lighting, it's not airbrushing. It truly is the fountain of youth.
It really is. It really is. I mean, think about this too. The more muscle that you have at those older ages, the more that you can do, the more life you can experience, because now you've got muscles still holding you up, you know?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So let me ask you, I'm going to ask you one last coaching question, but before that, what are your favorite Blackstone Labs products? Being that you've been in the Legion for 4 years, what are your favorite Blackstone Labs products?
Glycolog, Recomp RX, and probably Halo Elite. Those are the ones that I prescribe the most, because I just feel like you just get the best results from them.
That's so cool. Yeah, and these are products that you take, and like you said, you actually push like hard to your clients. Hey, look, check this out. I love this. It proofs in the pudding. You know, if coach likes it, coach uses it, coach turns competitor and uses it, then yeah. And those products are like, yeah, like you, they're the foundations of the Legion. I mean, Recomp's a foundation product. You know, Glycolog, everybody loves Glycolog. PJ, that's probably his favorite product of all. You know, and the dust, I mean, and no, you said Halo. I like the dust, but I have not tried the Halo, but the Halo is just,
it's just like, it's instant strength. Like you take it for 2 weeks and it's just like, oh, I'm really strong all of a sudden.
Oh my God, of course I've tried the Halo. No, and I do the Halo with the hype. the hype. I got confused with the Dust X. When you said Halo, I thought Dust X, and I use Dust V2. But no, yeah, that's an amazing product, and a lot of people love it because it gives them so much energy as well as strength. But there's no caffeine or stimulants in it, so it kind of like throws people off. Like, why is this giving me energy when there's no like artificial stimulants in there?
Yeah,
But it's
magic.
fantastic. It's magic. There you go. Yeah, magic. Like unicorn milk. It's magic. So,
But hype is probably my favorite because I run non-stim pre-workouts all the time.
definitely.
Because
So,
again, it's those tools that I want in prep. I want to be able to use the caffeine when I'm depleted from food. So I'll save all that from when I'm, just a few weeks out.
that makes sense, and it's strategy too, because a lot of this is a chess game. So it definitely makes sense. And then with regards to the coaching, though, that's my one final question for you. How do people get in touch with you? Like, do you even have like openings? Because that's the thing. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're a coach," and they're like, "Let me hire you," and they can't because you don't actually have openings. So A, do you have openings? And then how do people like get in touch with you to do this?
I do. Fitbodyfusion.com, and then there's a drop down, and you can fill out either an athlete or a transformation. But request me, Yvette Montero, fitbodyfusion.com.
Very cool. Well, I can't thank you enough for doing this, and
Thank
and
you.
I wish we could do another one because I want to poke, not poke, pick your brain. So maybe like in a few months we can do another. I have like this thing called catching up. I've only done one with Marathon Mom, but I would love to do one with you maybe in a couple of months.
Sign me up. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'm so happy. This is such a great interview, and you're just so full of life. It's crazy. It's like you're happy to be alive, and that's fantastic.
I really am.
Very cool. Very cool. So, for the Legion OG, Yvette Montero, this is Christian Duke, StrengthAddicts.com. Thank you so much, Yvette.
Thank you.